So today we're going to be talking about the 7 body parts, and I'm going to be talking about the hands and the legs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us these body parts to get what we want. For example, wherever we want to go, our legs bring us. We should be grateful for having them because some people do not have it, so we should all say Alhamdulillah. The blessings of the hands, part of the blessings of the hands is that we can give donations, building mosques, and etc. We know that our hearts give. Okay, so I'm going to say well first. So that means our hearts are generous, are like thing, but also our hands also give. We have hands so that we should use it to benefit our deen and use it in halal ways. Don't use your hand to ask for things that are not going to benefit you. Don't just ask to ask. For example, if I just go and ask like my dad, oh I need money, like it's not going to benefit me from my deen. And ask for the sake of Allah. Ask knowing that you will benefit from this or someone else is going to benefit from this. So you have everything, your eyes, mouth, face, ears, etc. So go work to get what you want. Work for your success. Don't be lazy. Ask God. So that means a noble person should accept challenges. You should be willing to go through hardship in order to succeed. While we can benefit from using our hands, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can easily curse us for using our hands in haram ways. Our hands can lead us to, for example, fornication. Like we can drive, we can drink alcohol and get drunk, then go do fornication. And like bullet can like in any ways possible. We don't really consider how our hands can get us into trouble, but it can get us like even into hellfire. Stealing, aggressing, killing, voodoo, black magic are all ways we can commit sins with our hands. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, not giving donation is like taking your hand and choking yourself. More like, like you don't want to use your money for people. So being cheap, and that's bad. Like having money and not investing it in halal ways is selfish. I'm not saying that you guys have to give charity and do that all the time, but I'm saying don't be selfish and don't ruin with your money. Because people that ruin are people of shaitan. Example, when you have a tour guide, like you follow them to go wherever, never follow shaitan like that ever in life. In Yasin, verse 65, it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يوم تشهد عليهم ألسنتهم وأيديهم وأرجلهم بما كانوا يعملون. Allah said, on the day when their tongues, their hands, and their feet will bear witness against them as to their actions. So, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Yalla, dina la nga def yëpp ak say ci sa loxo and your feet, and they're gonna respond. They did all of that, so watch the way you're using your hands and legs.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. So the body part that I'm going to be talking about is the tongue and the stomach. A lot of problems on earth is connected to this little organ that we all have, the tongue. Small in size but very great in damage. The damage is such that it's sharper than a razor. So you are responsible for what you said. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. That means, all you who believe, be conscious of Allah, be conscious of Allah, and on only other that is upright matter, that is shadida. That means no lies, no false, no abuse, nothing that is harmful, etc. Make sure you are saying words that are straight, beautiful, truthful. They depict the fact that you are a Muslim. You are responsible for what you say. These utterances can take you to Jannah or Jahannam. There is a hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal where the Prophet ﷺ told him, control your tongue. Where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told him, control your tongue. So he asked, O Messenger ﷺ, are we responsible for what we haven't done? So the Prophet told him, Takilatka ka ummuka ya Mu'adh. Takilatka ummuka ya Mu'adh. And then he asked him, will the people be dragged on the hellfire for any other reasons besides the way they use their tongue? This means that the majority of the people that's in the hellfire, they're there because of the way they use their tongue. For example, the way they use their tongue. For example, backstabbing, slander, deceit, lying, saying the worst words to our parents, our classmates, people around the globe, Muslim or non-Muslims. So we are responsible for what you say. The type of words we say we are responsible in all circumstances, especially in marriage. The way you use, depending on the way you use your word, you can make or broken your marriage. And that's something that Shaitan loves the most. Making two people divorce. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the good use of our tongue. And sometimes people, they use their words to make themselves be powerful. They think that when somebody tells you something, when you respond back, you have to do it in a negative way. But that's not how you should do it. Because as a Muslim, you should, as a person who's following Islam, you should be a good reputation of Islam, because Islam is all about peace. So we should spread the good words instead of spreading the toxics. Now that was the bad side of tongue. Now what is some of the benefits of using your tongue in the right way? Allah said, as a result of good words and as a remembrance of Allah, so many other beautiful and useful of the tongue. He said, يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Two gifts that He will give you. One, He will make pure of your deeds that you did. Now Allah will accept your deeds from you because of the way you use your tongue correctly. You did not give your deeds away to someone else because you abused, because you wronged somebody. Your deeds will end up going to somebody else. Now imagine throughout your whole life, you pray every day. You wake up like doing Fajr, you pray. You did all of the 5 pillars of Islam. And after you finding out that all of that you did goes to somebody else. That's what I call a big loser. And that's what I call a big loser. But because you said good things, because you say good things, He make your deeds. He will remove your sins. Because Allah said, when you become conscious of your words, He will forgive your deeds. MashaAllah. Now imagine how beautiful this is. Like I said earlier, I said that lying is one of the ways that you can use your tongue in a bad way. But I have a question for you guys. Do you guys know something that is better than learning the Quran?
No.
There is actually something that's better than that.
What?
That's
Mom Jara.
Okay, something that's better than
person who
learning.
doesn't lie.
Listen.
Yes.
Okay, what do you say?
A person who doesn't lie is better than a person who reads the Quran every day.
So if you stop. stop lying is better than learning the Quran. And all of these, like previous, like a long time, not that long time ago, when Bible Study did speech about learning the Quran, he talked about how the Quran will help you in your life, here and after, in your afterlife. And imagine something that's better than that. It's just one simple thing. Just stop lying and be honest with yourself. Because you can't trick people, but you will trick Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you lie, Allah has a special punishment for you. Allah will challenge you.
I'm going to be talking about the mind and the eyes. The mind. Al-Bukhari, a Muslim, narrated from Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said to Allah, may he be glorified and exalted, Allah decreed good deeds and bad deeds. Then he explained that whoever thinks of doing a good deed and he does not do it, Allah will write down as if he did that good deed. And if he thinks of a good deed and then does it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write it down as like 70 folds, and then what, 10 to 70. If a person thinks of one bad deed and does not do it, then Allah will write down as one good deed. And if he thinks of one bad deed and then does it, then Allah will write down as one bad deed. The Prophet ﷺ said, إن الله تجاوز عن أمتي ما حدثت به أنفسها ما لم تعمل أو تتكلم. He said that Allah forgives his ummah, which is the Muslims, for whatever causes their mind, as long as they do not speak of it or do it. So, which means that if for some whatever reason, like you're thinking of something bad or something evil because of, for whatever reasons, if you go and pray to Rakah and ask Allah to forgive you, that doesn't mean you should go to your friend and talk about what you was going to do to that person. It doesn't make it okay, and then it becomes a sin. But if you're thinking of something bad, so just keep it to yourself and ask Allah to forgive you. It's not that serious. So it's like, when you think of something bad, pray to Rakah and ask Allah to forgive you. But don't go and talk about, oh, I was going to pull her hair, I was going to do this to her. Just keep it to yourself, and then Allah, inshallah, will forgive you. That's what mine.
Assalamu alaikum. So the topic that I'm going to be talking about is the ears and the private part. So before the ears and the private part. So before I start with the ears, how many of you guys listen to music? Just be honest.
What you said?
How many of you guys listen to music? Like,
I'm right here.
Okay.
I listen to the halal music.
Oh, that's
I'm a song, I'm a beat.
How many of you guys stop listening to music? Like, you guys don't listen to it no more.
Can you be more specific? What type of music?
Music that has like beats, rhythms, that has like curses, a boogie, you know, like music like that. Body sex, like music like that. Music that has beats.
Why?
Okay, I'm gonna explain to you why.
Listen. No, I do it.
Okay, as we all know, music is haram. But you know who created music? Shaitan created music. You know how he created music? I'm going to teach you. So after the death of Adam, Sheath, the son of Adam, took over the ruling, and he ruled with justice in accordance with Allah's law. Qabil, Adam's other son, was not so good, and his descendants grew more than the people around Sheath. Qabil committed the greatest corruption on earth. Qabil and his people grew and corrupted and corruption increased among them. Sheeth, leader of the mountain, had people obeying Allah and had things under control. Qabil was aggressive, greedy, and arrogant. Very difficult, so he isolated himself away from the people that were with Sheeth and wanted to follow Allah's teaching. So Sheeth was given an instruction by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it was prohibited to mix with the people who went with Qabil on the other side. People in the mountains followed it. But remember, Shaitan made a promise to Allah that he will mislead the people, and Allah said he will always forgive his worshippers and the ones that turn to him. So no matter what sin you make, just turn to Allah. Shaitan can never overpower Allah worshippers. Shaitan went to Qabil's people because he knew that if he went to Sheeth people, Sheeth would protect them, and he wouldn't be able to mislead them. So Shaitan went into Qabil's people asking for a job, and the job that he asked for was to make sounds. Qabil remember, you have to keep in mind that Qabil, even though he made a huge sin, he was still considered a Muslim. Shaitan came in the form of a man. Keep in mind, he came in the form of a handsome man. So Qabil, and he was up in the mountain, and Qabil was down in Qabil. Sorry, Qabil.
Not Qabil.
Qabil.
Okay, let you know. Let's talk about Qabil, guys.
Okay. Okay, so Sheeth was up in the mountain and Qabil was down in the mountain. Qabil had men that were ugly, but he had women that were pretty. Sheeth had men that were good looking, but yet women that were ugly. So Shaitan came in the form of a good looking man, and he went to Qabil. He went over to Qabil's people. Okay, so he asked for a job, and the job was to make sound that people never heard. So as soon as he kept on making sounds, people became more curious. And he made a bugle and blew it. People got excited, subhanAllah, got more excited and forgot the commands of Allah. So Shaitan taught them how to create evil and how to do evil. This is how the musical instruments got introduced to existence. Through this is where Shaitan controlled them. They set every Saturday aside just to listen to music and party. One day, some of the youth from Sheeth's side were visited by Shaitan. Shaitan put doubt in their heads by asking, why is that we are not allowed to mix with the cousins of ours, the people with Qabil? Sheeth answered to them, Qabil had engaged in a crime right in the beginning, and his characteristics are difficult, so they shouldn't be mixed with him. They weren't satisfied with the answer, so they went to check out the people with Qabil. They were partying. They saw so if you remember, Sheeth had good-looking men but ugly women, but then Qabil had good-looking women but ugly men. So when the men down from Sheeth's side, when they went to go see the people down from Qabil's side, they were excited because they saw a good-looking woman. So when they got closer, they spotted the woman, and the woman started to display their beauty to attract the men. This is subhanAllah. This was first time Shaitan taught them this. Young men came and enjoyed themselves. Yeah. So these men went back to the mountain with Sheeth. People were and told them that they're missing out. So Shaitan uses sound to control mankind. Whenever there was a party, people would sneak out to the other side. The sin in this story is music and adultery, because music led them to seeing other people that they thought was pretty, and they started to try to attract each other in a haram way, which basically misled them. It's like the imagery I had when I was learning this story is like it was a small flame. That small flame was when Shaitan was making a sound, and then he put it in a puddle of gasoline, which made a huge fire. So how can we say that we don't want to join Shaitan, but all our actions say the opposite if we still listen to music? Are we even much different than these people that were misguided? It's sad that we have all the answers in the Quran, but we refuse to use them or act by them. The moral of the story is music, adultery, and what people do for attention. And another thing that's haram is listening to gossip, not minding your business, or eavesdropping. That's very haram because you're not minding your business.
What's that again?
What's haram is not minding your business and eavesdropping. That's very haram.
Heard that voice?
Prophet said, "Min husni Islamiyat tarkuhu ma la ya'ni." Part of perfecting your deen and minding your business.
Wait.
Okay, this is class. Can you listen, guys? You know why you listen? Okay, and you have to hold.
If your parents are there and they approve of it, then okay. But if you ask your parents and they will be upset, then I recommend you highly not to do it because it's haram. Pretend every move that you make, everything that you say, pretend your parents are there. Because at the end of the day, you respect your parents and you have to respect your parents and you represent your parents and you represent your family. And I believe everyone wants that. And Allah is always watching. So you're not tricking Allah, you're tricking yourself. And that's how I say it.
Okay.
What are you going back? What are you? Your Bible says, you have all night.
Something that I forgot to say for my...
Maaleykum salaam mooy yàlla boo nekk si jàmm. That's it. Amul rek daal. Maaleykum salaam mooy yàlla boo nekk si jàmm. Salaamaaleykum yow yàlla boo nekk si jàmm. Maaleykum salaam man yow yàlla boo nekk si jàmm. Asalaamaaleykum yow yàlla boo nekk si jàmm. Mooy la maaleykum salaam yow tamit yàlla nga nekk si jàmm.
Okay, can you say asalaamaaleykum again?
Asalaamaaleykum.
Waaleykum salaam.
Diine lépp loo yàq da leen protéger. Maaleykum salaam mooy yow yàlla boo nekk si jàmm.
Okay, so something that I forgot to say about my leggings is loxo bi nekk ci kaw moo gën loxo bi nekk ci suuf. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the hand that gives is better than the hand that receives. So keep that in mind when it comes to like using your hands. So another body part we should consider more is our legs, because wherever we want to go, no matter where, our legs bring us there. For example, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said in one of the hadiths, when you hear adhan, you go pray. That's like a big reward to you because you're using your legs in halal way. Or when you go see a loved one that is either sick or not, you're just doing it for the goodness of your heart. Because like, you know, that's a big reward to you too. There's a lot more you can do with your legs that could get you blessings from Allah. But we also have to know that Allah can curse us on how we use our legs. Like going to bars or going to parties or anything that has to do with following shaitan's steps/direction. And of course, don't go anywhere that sabotages your deen. For example, if you were at a place in which you hear people talking about your deen in a negative way or insulting your religion, you should get up and go, because I believe that's a sin to stay there listening to people insulting your deen.
How about miss? How is it miss?
Sister. I didn't. Oh. I said I believe. I don't know.
What? It is a sin.
You believe what is a sin?
That like if you're where your deen is getting insulted or they're talking bad about your religion and you're sitting there and you're like dealing with it.
You can defend it.
You can.
This love is
That is sin. You don't know.
That's
Talk about the club.
That's what I believe. What do you mean by club?
Going to the club is a halal place. Music.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, can you repeat that?
I said going to a place in which your deen is being insulted or they're talking bad about your religion. You should not stay there. I said I believe it's a sin, but I'm not saying it is a sin.
ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله ويسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم. So what he's saying, like, you should watch what places you should go. Okay? So inshallah after the live cut
again, Santa Yalla for having your likes, because God could have easily not give them to you. In Surah 2, verse 24, it states, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم
اليوم نختم على أفواههم
اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that day shall we set a seal on their mouths, but their hands will speak to us and their feet bear witness to all that they did. So basically, Yawm al-Qiyamah, God is going to ask why you went to that place, or what took you to that place, and you're not going to be able to defend yourself. So your body parts, for example, your legs and your hands will be saying, I took this person there. There is more you could do with your legs to get blessings from Allah. So like wherever you go, know that like you're going there because of your deen. When you are walking to do good things and to benefit your deen, know that Allah is giving you rewards. Make sure your deen is always the reason. So make sure things is always the reason, and let's make sure we use them in halal ways and always say Alhamdulillah. Because we couldn't even have what's up.
MashaAllah, wonderful.
We're talking about the eyes. Allah in the Quran says, say to the believing men that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. That will make for greater purity for them. And Allah is well acquainted with all that they do. And say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. So this means that men should not look at like non-muharram women, and women should not look at non-muharram men, which means like, okay, first of all, by lowering your gaze, I don't mean like shut your eyes and walk like that, beautiful. And I just mean like when you see something you're not supposed to see, like for example, something like pass by you, and like that's not really appropriate in Islam. So some people, instead of saying astaghfirullah and keep on walking, you turn to see what you saw was right or not. That's a sin. The Prophet ﷺ said to Hazrat Ali that the first time Allah forgives you, but the second time it becomes a sin. So when you look, then you're forgiven. But when you look again, then that's a sin. So when you see something you're not supposed to see, you don't have to look again. Just keep on walking. A Muslim is decent and pure. So that means that all her or his body must also be decent, and it must also be pure. So that means all their actions, so like it's natural in Islam for like a Muslim to walk naturally and peacefully. In the Quran, Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tattabi'u khutuwati shaytan wa man yattabi' khutuwati shaytan fa innahu ya'muru bil fahsa'i wal munkar ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته ما زكى منكم من أحد أبدا ولكن الله يزكي من يشاء والله سميع عليم. He said, O you who believe, do not follow in Satan's footsteps. If any of you follow the footsteps of Satan, he will lead you to what is shameful and what is wrong. Wait. Sorry. So, looking at another man or a woman that is like not dressing appropriate is indecent and it is not pure. That is following Shaitan's footsteps. And For the eyes, most of it all starts with jealousy or envy of somebody. When you see something you like about somebody, or like opposite, when you think that person doesn't deserve what they have, you start looking at them in some type of way where if your eyes could shoot knives to you, be dead. So it's like there's some type of eyes that when you look at somebody like that, their eyes, like their head can hurt. So how you look at someone, it really matters. And that all starts with jealousy and envy, just like how Iblis started his story with jealousy and envy of Adam alayhi salam. So, there are some things, like when you call yourself a Muslim, there are some things that you shouldn't do, especially how you look at people. It matters because there are some certain people in this world who notice those type of things that you see small. So like, I don't mean like rolling your eyes at your friends jokingly, but there are some type of looks that hurts heads. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is our example when when it comes to manners and when it comes to handling people. If I'm not wrong, when people came to him to ask for help, he didn't roll his eyes, no matter how silly or how many problems that came to him. That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was praising him in the Quran, he didn't tell him that you have the best family, even though he did have the best family. He didn't tell him you were the most beautiful, even though he was the most beautiful. He didn't tell him you are the most knowledgeable, even though he was the most knowledgeable. He said, "Innaka la'ala khuluqin azim." You are the best mannered person. So that means that we should follow him and put. So use him as an example. If we don't use our peers, we should use him and like have manners, be polite to people, because it doesn't cost us a thing. Being polite is easier and is better than being the opposite. So I want to mention something that I forgot to mention earlier with the tongue. So I forgot to say that singing is like one of the bad use of your tongue. When you sing, like that's something haram. Something that you can do to replace that is when you do the halal singing, which is the Quran. Allah loves that very much. And I also have a hadith for all of us that you can follow. You know how in the day of the judgment you are questioned for everything that you say? Like everything. It's just like when we're writing our essays. For every statement that you make, you have to, for every claim that you make, you have to say why. Like, why do you do this or why do you do that? So a hack that we can all do is to speak less and listen more. When you speak less, speak less and listen more. Because when you speak less in the day of the judgment, you will make your process faster. So nobody will understand for years talking nonsense and they will ask you why did you say this, why did you say that. And you will have no response to it because you are just talking and you have no meaning for your words. So when you're talking, you should have a reason for every statement that you make. If it's not something that's going to benefit you or somebody else, don't say it. If it's something that's going to hurt, if it's something that's going to ruin your reputation, the reputation of Islam and your family, just don't say it at all.
Yes. Somebody has a question for you.
My question is that what if you take a glance at something and you think it's haram, but it's actually halal, and you say astaghfirullah to something that's halal?
Well, sometimes really you can't mix up the difference between halal and haram. There's a fine line between it. So when you see halal, if you're conscious, I don't think you're actually gonna think of like haram. But if it's like a confusing image and you're not sure, to me it's just better to say astaghfirullah and move on with your life.
So the other body that I want to talk about is the stomach. The stomach.
Nope.
Do not eat the meat. Do not eat the meat which the name of Allah is not mentioned upon it. That's when you're slaughtering the animal, you have to say Bismillah. When you eat the meat that was slaughtered without saying Bismillah, that's a sin, if you know. The animal, and also the animal that is just dead, it wasn't slaughtered or cut. That's like it's just dead. That's like very disgusting because you don't know the reason why the animal is dead. It could be because of a disease or a virus or anything. So Allah did all of this just to protect us, not to harm us. The flesh of pork, that's also another thing that you shouldn't eat. The reason why, there's many reasons, but these reasons that I wrote down is the pork, like, the flesh of pork is very nasty. The fact that they eat their own waste, that shows how nasty they are. And when someone else eats the pork, it's like they're eating the waste of the pork. Because every pork eats their own waste. And something interesting that I noticed, you know how in school they ask you what is your spirit animal? Like people, they use lions, tigers, all of that. But now once I heard somebody say a pig, because they know that pig has bad reputation. Even if you call somebody a pig just by joking, they will feel offended because they know that this animal has a bad reputation. So imagine somebody calling you a pig, you will feel offended. Now imagine you putting the meat inside of your body is going to feel offended. And Allah has a special punishment for you. Something else that shouldn't go into your stomach is something that you steal. So let's say you stole something, like the food, and you eat it. Or you stole some money and you went to a store and you buy something. Something that also shouldn't go into your body is riba. Because riba is basically something that you steal, that you use and that's not yours. Something else is when you're drinking alcohol is haram and it's bad because someone they see so if you nyame sangare aduna alla yoma khiyam do nan ci sangare yalla gëna neex something else that is haram for your stomach is when you eat the orphan's money. That is something, it's like you're stealing the orphan's money. It's like you're stealing riba and their money, you put all of that into your stomach. Now imagine somebody who put all of this in their stomach and they swear they're going to pray to Allah. They go and they pray. How is Allah going to accept their prayers? They're just going to worship Him. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing one of
You want to do the wall of today?
No.
Yes, here. Like doing with the finished endings or something. We want to give them a message. A message.
But we should do this
Like a summary. More like Ben the Key. Oh, okay.
Sëriñ Tuuba radiyallahu anhu waxee ci Jawharu Nafiis ne wax xibsuhu jawaari àdduna bépp
war na ci bépp mu kàllax mu wattu
war
ay
na ci
cëram
bépp mu kàllax mu wattu ay cëram joxe na fi juróom-ñaari cër bu njëkk bi mu joxe mooy biir wala bu njëkk bi joxe mooy biir ñaareel bi mooy làmmiñ beneen bi si tege mooy sëy ñeenteel bi moo nekk ñaari tànk juróomeel bi mooy yaari bët juróom-benneel bi mooy yaari loxo juróom-ñaareel bi mooy nopp moo ñu ni ku leen wattu kon am lu baax lu am kon mu am lépp lu baax mu ni juróom-ñaari cër yi ku ko wattu kon mu am lépp lu baax te mooy juróom-ñaari cër yi na wax fi léegi kon mu waxaat ko mu nekk biir làmmiñ pëy ñaari tànk yaari loxo ñaari bët yaari loxo ak nopp
Mashallah.
Really? 7 o'clock? But most days are 8.
Yeah.
Are you doing something?
You want to end the right thing? I'm just going to call.
Are you doing
Okay, so then you have to watch the am na lu ñu def ñoo xam ne am na nit ñoo xam ne amuñu ko am na ñu amul ay tànk am ñu amul ay loxo am ñoo xam ne sax suñ toog mënuñu fay gis kon bu fekk par exemple suñ bët yi pour ñu cee xool dara loo xam ne mënuñu ko xool wala ñuy jëw ci suñuy bët like that wala ngay lekk loo wut a lekk waaw nga la comme ça daal ok misaal nga gis koo xam ne si dafa nekk di wax comme bu fekkente ne Cheikh Abdou da doon wax benn speech man ma taxaw fii ak soxnante naan ko nii comme ça di wax ak moom daal di communiquer ci ay bët ci loo xam ne si warul a nekk wala ngay lekk wala nga nekk lu wut a nekk sa làmmiñ wala nga nekk di jëw wala nga nekk di saaga wala nga nekk di fen di jëw di saaga ci sa làmmiñ wala nga jël sa loxo di sàcc loo xam ne waroo koo jël di dox foo xam ne waroo faa dox comme ça di dem ci ay soirée di fecc yi nga xamul waaw 31 décembre di lekk loolu te lekk loo xam ne sa alal di sol loo xam ne waroo koo sol di diglu musique di diglu loo xam ne si daal yow sa yoon nekk comme ni am na te waxee ni muslim islam yi mari takfuma la yàqu di diglu loo xam ne si waroo koo diglu kon lii yëpp nuru wut te nekk loo xam ne lu jafe la pour ab julli pour mën koo topp parce que man ngaa mënul lay jërtaray sa bopp rek pour yow nga mën a dem jàpp soirée wala jër soxlu ngay rey sa bopp rek pour nga yow nga mën a lekk alalu jàmm
dégg nga kii dama leen doon wax sérieux gis ngeen kii mboolem lu wax kii doomu la ko jàng kii ñëpp fi la leen fekk.
Oh, thank you.
Yo, mention this. That's my friend.
Ñaanal ko mu am jëkkër.
Oh, it's Bayer's and it's Mariam's. You heard? And Mariam's.
Alhamdulillah.
So, ak ba pare ñu fàttaliku ne fii.
Say it in English. Say it in English.
Okay, I'm be more English. So, okay, fii bala ngaa dugg foo xam ne dafa xaraam par exemple soirée yenn saa yi ngay fay pour dugg foofu noonu te yàlla sant la ko te bu fekkente ngaa war a dugg ci masjid kenn fayu la dara bu fekkee am na nit ñoo xam ne fii nii dañ leen a xam ci àdduna ñëpp la xam mais àdduna kenn xamula fa am ñoo xam ne fii àllaaxira fii am ñoo xam ne kenn xamu leen te aljanna lañ leen xamee kon bis bu fekkee ok fii du kër niñ ko waxee xam nga ko ni ko waxoon àdduna du kër aw jaar rek la dañ fiy jaar jàll fi nga xam ne dañoo war fii dañ fee nekk rek pour liggéey pour wut ay kër alaaxira parce que foofu lañu war a dem tool yi fii dafa mel ne rek dañuy travel rek moo tax li waa cër yi ñu yàlla jox dañ ko war a sàmm fokk ko te xam ne yàlla bu ko neexoon jékki-jékki rek jële ko jékki-jékki jël suñuy loxo wala mu jël suñuy tànk ñun moomuñu dara ci lu ñu yor dañ koo jël yàlla dañuy test fii rek kon cër yi nga xam ne yàlla jox nañu ko nañ ko sàmm fokk ko te xam ne bu ko neexoon jël ko ci ñun ñi nga xam ne nag amuñu bët wala amuñu ay tànk wala amuñu ay loxo ku leen ko joxoon ñoom dinañ ko foog.
We make the halal easy, the haram becomes hard.
Exactly.
If we make the halal easy, the haram becomes hard. If you make the haram easy, the halal becomes hard. If you make the halal easy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like, the last point you talk is very, very important to us. And like, you know, can you just like quick translate? Thank you. For my sister. Okay. She's to Mariama. Okay. To Mariama. Thank you. And Ummuba also. Just really quick, say the last part.
Basically, Allah gives us these body parts, and these are blessings because there are other people who don't have it. There are people who don't have hands, some people who can't walk, some people who can't see. So when Allah bless you with your hands and legs, use it for the halal, use it for what He wants. Because if He wanted to, the next day He can take away your hands or take away your legs. So these, like your hands, your legs, your eyes, all these things we're talking about, they're gifts from Allah. So, and when somebody gives you a gift, you shouldn't just throw it in the trash. You shouldn't just treat it trashly. You should take care of it. Because then He won't give you another gift. That's just common sense. Or, He can take away that gift from you and give it to somebody else who will take care of it. So, using all these things that we're saying, it should be like fundamental education for a Muslim. It shouldn't be something that you have to die for, work hard, just to not eat pork, or work hard just to not drink alcohol. It should be fundamental things like when I'm hungry I go eat, or when I need to use the bathroom I go. It should be like normal things for a Muslim. You shouldn't have to die just to do these regular things that Allah is asking for. So we should be mindful that these things that we have, Allah can take away from us any time of the day, and we won't be able to do anything about it because He was the one who gave it in the first place.
So the quote that she was using was that you should remember, and this came from Maryam Gallo. She said, "It is costly to enter haram places like the bar, but it is free to enter the masjid." So basically, it is, and this one came from Bayero. He said, "There are people who are known here on this earth, but they are not known in heaven. And there are people who are not known in this earth." And they are known in the heaven. So there are people here, you don't know them, but then when they go to Allah, and then here, there are people, for example, just like people that you know here, may Allah can MashaAllah.
Wait, can we